into another edition of Inside Southeastern Sports. I'm Jay Lindly, and now it's time for our men's basketball preview, talking with head coach Kelly Green. Coach, haven't got to talk to you in a while. I know you've been busy in the gym with practice, but let's rewind back to last March. An outstanding season. You guys make it to the NCAA tournament for a second consecutive year, only to kind of have it taken away from you to get that opportunity to play in the tournament. Just reflecting back on that, what were your thoughts then, and how have you kind of, I guess, reconciled that in your head over the course of the summer?
Well, I don't know. Probably as much as anything, my thoughts back then is we wouldn't be going through this now. And thinking that, okay, well, this will be kind of a short-term deal, and unfortunately we didn't get to finish the year. But, you know, what happens a lot of times, Jay, is it's not good till everybody else loses. So once you lose, you know, the way they say, misery loves company. You want everybody else to lose too. And then you thought kind of like, okay, well, now it's all right. Everybody else is lost. We're all done. Well, on that particular thing, we all got done on the same day. Yeah. And so it wasn't good, but nobody else got to play either. So, you know, that was just part of it. And so we're doing the best we can with that at this point, and you know, just trying to forget last year as much as possible at the end of the year.
You graduated a fantastic player in Kevin Buckingham. I know that last year late we had the three of us on camera, and you guys kind of shared a moment of how, you know, important he was to you and you to him. Of course, he's gone on to other things, playing professionally now, but your thoughts on what he did for this program and how you guys kind of take what started with him, and you still got some of those guys, Dorsky and Manek, and kind of build on it from there.
Well, you know, Kevin came in, and like we've talked about before, Kevin was all in. He was all in the weight room. He was all in on campus. He was all in class. He was all in social groups on campus. He was with FCA. He was part of Durant, and those are some of the other things that he was in with, as well as playing basketball. And I mean, he was, what was he? He was the homecoming king, and he was Mr. Durant or Mr. Southeastern at one time, and he got the most out of his experience here at Southeastern, and in return, we benefited from everything that he did, and character-wise, you know, just a wonderful person. But he put in great effort, he put in great work. And his effort was tremendous in the things that he did.
Of course, one of the new toys that you guys have here this year, the new strength and conditioning facility here, and getting to see some of the guys this offseason, guys like Kellen Manek, it seems as though you guys are really benefiting from what Coach Fears is doing down there. Talk a little bit about that and how you see that as a benefit to your program.
Well, Zach's done a fantastic job since he's gotten here. And fortunately, our guys have gotten in, and they've had to do the work. But he's put together a very good program. I mean, this was prior to us having the beautiful facility that we have now. But he got in. His demeanor, you know, he I think does a great job with communicating with the guys, encouraging them, pushing them, and they like him. I mean, they genuinely like him. They look forward to going in. Some people don't really like to lift weights that much, but our guys have enjoyed it. They enjoy being around him and his staff. You know, this fall we're in there. Normally we're in there, you know, prior to the beginning practice 4 days a week. Yeah. We've been 4 days a week all this semester, which has been good because we've got some guys that are a little slight. We've got a lot of young guys this year, and so we've got some more slightly built guys, and it's been very beneficial, I think, to be in there as much as we are.
So let's talk about some of the guys you anticipate, you know, obviously having an impact this season. Adam Dorsky, he comes in, he every year, every game, it seems like there's something he does that amazes myself, the crowd, amazes you. You've got Kellen Manek coming back, Bobby Johnson as well. Talk a little bit about those guys and what you anticipate from them this season.
Well, your teams are usually as good as your upperclassmen. We have three seniors. Kellen's been with us for 3 years, Adam's been with us for 4, Bobby's been with us for 5, and although Bobby's been hurt a couple times. And so we've got guys that know what we as coaches expect, and we in turn know what we can expect from them. And that's very important. When you've got guys like that in your program, you've got a chance to be very solid. Kellen, I think, has done a tremendous amount of work this past summer, and maybe it started back in March, I don't know, but he's really even reshaped his body. He's jumping so much better. His legs are stronger. He's just gotten better and better. Adam, like we said, that Adam kind of amazes you more and more, and I don't think people really understand how difficult he is for opposing teams to stay in front of until they actually get out there with him. And he changes speeds, changes directions, as well as anybody around. And he's a very good shooter. We want him to shoot the ball a little bit more, although we're not trying to change his, what he does for our team. His role does not need to change. We just need to get a little bit more production.
Yeah, you're not wanting him to be Marbury. You're wanting him just to take advantage of a few more things.
No, and just like, what happens a lot of times, Jay, is guys think, okay, well, Kevin Buckingham's gone, and so I need to be Kevin Buckingham. Well, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You need to be who you are. Well, this guy's not here, so I need to, this shooter's not here, so I need to shoot more. Well, no, you maybe need to shoot better, but you may not need to shoot any more. And so that's what happens a lot of times, is guys start thinking, well, I got to replace that guy that left. Well, no, you bring a whole different skill set than maybe that guy does.
Well, and speaking of that those are minutes and points and rebounds that graduate with Buckingham. Who are some of the redshirt guys that we didn't see on the floor a year ago that are coming in this year that you see kind of making an impact in that?
Well, we've got a couple of redshirts, but we've got some guys that didn't play a whole lot last year. We've got Markeith Williams, who, gave Kevin and Kellen fits every day in practice.
And when he did get in the game,
he plays very hard. He's one that, he's got a very good mid-range game. He can do some things offensively. He can score the ball. He brings great energy. And he's one that a little bit we've had the conversation with about, you don't have to go out and try to be somebody you're not. Be the best Markeith Williams you can be. And we're looking forward to him getting some minutes on the floor. Vadim Klenet, who came off the bench for us. We toyed around with redshirting him back and forth last year, and we ended up not doing it, and he helped us in a few games. And what Vadim gives us, he gives us another guy with size, 6'8". He's a very good passer. He moves the ball very well, cuts to the basket. A lot of times whenever we would put him in last year, our offensive pace picked up just with him out there on the floor. We want him to be a guy that looks for a shot a little bit more than he did. A lot of times he's always just looking to pass it. We want him to be ready to shoot. But we think he can give some quality minutes there as well. And then, we've got a couple of, we've got a few red shirts. We've got R.J. Weeks and Connor Brister from over at Kingston, who, again, two guys that we toyed with redshirting, and then we thought, no, maybe not. But then in the long run, we knew it would be best if they did. They could grow physically. They could, get used to the pace of the game, and they've both been productive here in the fall. So we think that they bring winning, number one.
A couple of state champions.
Well, anytime you win, whatever level it's on, you can bring that to another program, and they bring that to us. And they've both got good size. They're both good athletes. Need to get a little bit more physically stronger. Neither one of them are ever going to be, big and bulky, but they can still, get over in the Zach Fears weight room and get bigger and stronger.
Of course, you've got Ryan Quinn as your assistant again. But one of the things that I noticed in the staffing, Jet Joe coming back as a grad assistant, I know he was a player you were extremely fond of. Just your thoughts on adding him to your staff, and how you think that might help with some of those younger guys. Obviously, Jet and Dorsky were in the backcourt together for a year.
Well, you've got somebody who what do they say, has been there, done that,
yeah,
and did that very well. and was very successful at doing it. And so you've got somebody as a coach that you can talk to tell, hey, go talk to these guys and explain it to them. You know, I mean, I'm not that old, but there's becoming a gap every year.
A little language,
yeah.
I understand completely.
But there's also the guy that, you know, okay, Jet, did we do this whenever you were there? That Jet can also talk to us a little bit and give us, you know, Coach, as a player, here's kind of what I saw. And so it helps both sides. It's not just helping us in the coach's room. It's helping out on the court. It's you know, being that liaison between coach and player, but also between player and coach. And so that's been great to have him. It's like having, you know, like having another senior out there. And now Jet's gone out, and he did a very good job at a difficult job in Rock Creek, and went over and watched his team play. And you know, he got to call his own timeouts and do his own practice schedules and stuff. And that's very important. So you get to see it, you get to sit on a different spot and see the game in a different way. So having him back, and then Trevor Van Tassel is back with us again this year. We're very fortunate to have Trevor back, and having him for 2 years already, and now having him a third year. And he works with our big guys, and I can see his confidence level just, even though he didn't play here for Southeastern or play for any of us, his confidence level on the court has gotten so much stronger.
Well, I'll get you out here on this. One of the key differences this year when it comes to conference scheduling, the decision to do an East-West split means no trips into Arkansas, but it does mean facing in-state opponents 4 times in a year before getting to the postseason. How does that change your job a little bit? Because you're going to be seeing East Central not twice, but 4 times, and so forth and so on.
You know, it's kind of hard to say. I'm not a fan, but I am a fan of playing. And so, unfortunately, everybody in the country has had to make different kinds of adjustments, and that happens to be the adjustment that we've made here in the Great American Conference. And I would rather not be doing what we're doing. I'd rather be playing everybody 2 times, and then, you know, then whenever you get to the conference tournament, you play somebody the 3rd time. But that's not the way it's worked out. And so we've got to be content with that. We've got to go out and, you know, it's one thing I keep thinking about. I think about baseball a lot of times. There doesn't seem to be in baseball where, you know, teams go on the road and they split a lot.
Yeah.
Or you know, very seldom do they go on the road and win all 3 games that they're playing.
Yeah.
Or at home do they win all 3 games. So the records aren't really top heavy, I guess we can say.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to be it or not, if we're all going to be 500. I know back whenever I played, and back in the Dennis Rodman days, I think my senior year, Southeastern was 5-3, and somebody was 3-5 at the end of the OIC, and everybody else was 4-4. So I don't know if we're all going to be, you know, if we get to play 20 games, if somebody's going to be 12-8 and 8-12, and the other 3 are going to be 10-10, or the other 4. Yeah, I don't know. I think the balance in our side of the league is going to be very good. I wouldn't want to be in Arkansas instead of Oklahoma, and I really don't want to be in Oklahoma instead of Arkansas, because I look at both sides and see that both sides can be very, very difficult. And I know, Jay, we lost a lot of very good players last year. It was a senior league. We've got a lot of guys playing professionally and playing well professionally. We've got some guys that were graduate transfers that moved on to other 4-year schools. They are playing well. I mean, our league was very good. And it was a shame we didn't get to showcase our league in the NCAA tournament. We got 4 teams in the region, which is unheard of, all the way across the country. And but that's all in the past now. And so, you know, we look forward to the new year, to what the new year is going to bring, and hopefully we'll get to play 20 games, or at least most of them.
Exactly. Again, talking with head coach Kelly Green. Of course, coming up, we continue on. We'll move to our players spotlight with Kellen Manek. Coach, as always, appreciate the time and look forward to covering you guys come the new year.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jay.
Of course, coming up, more of Inside Southeastern Sports. Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Sports as we continue on with our men's basketball preview. Now for our player spotlight, talking with Kellen Manek. Kellen, how are you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
We didn't get to talk on camera about this, but let's rewind back. Last year, great season, make it to the NCAA tournament, only to have it kind of the rug pulled out from underneath you. Take us back to that. What were your emotions at that time? What was the team's emotions at that time back in March?
Well, at the time, we didn't really know what was going on. I'm pretty sure we all kind of thought at the time they would just get moved back a couple of weeks and we'd end up playing. I mean, coronavirus wasn't really a thing back then.
Yeah.
When it all started. It had just hit the U.S., so we were all pretty sure that nothing big was going to happen. We'd end up playing, and then you figure out, oh no, it's like canceled, like not happening, and kind of heartbreaking. You know, you work so hard to get somewhere, and then it's just taken from you just like that, and there's nothing you can do about it.
With that, coming into a new year, you graduate, Kevin Buckingham, obviously, great player. Now that leadership role, you know, you and Dorsky are kind of the main two coming back off of last year's squad. How much does having that season last year taken away add to the fuel or add fuel to the fire to this season? And how are you embracing that leadership role? Because we kind of saw you grow as a leader last year. Your first year here, you were kind of quiet at times. Last year, you were yelling at people on the floor, all kinds of stuff.
You know, my first year here, we had Jet Job, who's now our GA, and just having Jet, he was kind of that vocal guy. And after we lost him, you know, I just kind of noticed people kind of started looking to me for that, and I'm getting better about it. You know, I get heated at times, everybody does, and I'm trying to be more encouraging, especially this year, and just accepting the role of, okay, be the vocal guy, be the guy that's always talking, be the guy that somebody can come to and talk.
With that, though, does last season create a little bit more, I guess, sense of urgency with this group, especially it's your senior year?
It really does. You know, like you said, getting it taken away from you like that and being as close as we were in regular season, and then we get upset in the semifinals and Henderson goes on to win it in the tournament, you know, it just kind of adds fuel to the fire of, you know, this is my last go-round, this is our year, we need to step up and take care of business.
What are some of the things, I know you guys typically don't like practice, you've had a lot of it this year. What have been some of the things you've been working on as a player, and what are some of the things you guys are working on as a team? Because while you and Dorsky are back, Bobby Johnson's back, but overall, there's a lot of redshirt guys that are going to be key contributors this year.
You know, the thing we've really focused on is just getting together and just playing together, getting used to what everybody does and things like that, because coming back last year, we had 4 returning guys that played a ton of minutes, and just having that, everybody kind of knew what the strengths and weaknesses were. And then you add in, we've basically got 3 guys back with me, Adam, and Bobby, and a bunch of guys that haven't played a lot of minutes. And after Al came off the ACL injury and everything like that. And so, you know, it's just the focus has been, let's just get out there, let's figure out what everybody does, and let's just get the ball moving and just play.
How have you guys adjusted to having to play with the new facial gear as far as wearing the mask and all that kind of stuff? Is that a change of pace?
It's weird. At first, it kind of gets you a little bit because the breathing's a little bit different, but you kind of get used to it, and you know, you just got to deal with it. It's one of the many things we've had to deal with. Just like how the tournament gets canceled, you just got to kind of deal with it, and so we've taken it in stride and just moved on.
What are some of the things that you like right now about this team? Granted, ball hasn't got to go up in the air yet. We're still about a month away from that. But what do you like about this team thus far? Obviously, you were talking about practice. You've got to learn a lot about each other during this time.
You know, I like our athleticism. We got a lot of guys this year that are very, very athletic and can guard a lot of positions, and I think that's one of our strengths is that we're going to be a pretty athletic team for how we look. For the way we look, we're actually pretty pound for pound athletic, and I think that could be a big strength for us this year.
One of the things that Coach talked about last year was the work you put in the off season, and you know, looking at you now, you still look like you've been working hard in the off season, a little bit trimmer, a little bit more fit. What are some of the things you do away from the court to stay in shape? And did you find trouble being motivated this summer after everything the way it transpired in March?
No, I took about 6 weeks off after the season, just kind of let my body heal up and everything. And pretty much after that, I ran and lifted almost every day, and you know, that was my focus. You know, you know, there was a lot of things that had gone on, and with everything getting canceled and, like you said, taken from you, to me that was my fuel. Was, you know what? Why did this happen? I don't understand it. But here's the beauty of it is I got 1 year left. I mean, look at a guy like Kevin Buckingham. Yeah, you know, he's playing professional basketball and he's a great player. But I know he would have given anything to play in that national tournament.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my motivation going into it was I want to come back as athletic and as strong as I can be. And so I ran, I lifted, I've shaved off about 15 pounds of fat, you know, and just trying to be a better basketball player. And I think it's paid off.
Now, get you out here on this. We learned last year by way of Adam Dorsky your love of Star Wars. Real quick, your thoughts on Season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Season 2 Mandalorian is unbelievable. If you haven't watched it, you need to go give it a look. Unbelievable. You gotta know all the backstory. You gotta have watched Clone Wars. You gotta have watched Rebels. You know, and it just kind of
I have noticed they're pulling those characters
brings it all
out
together, and it's just mind blowing.
For you grew up with the Clone Wars. I mean, you were a kid when that cartoon came out. So are you buying into this maybe even more so than you would a normal Star Wars movie?
Honestly, I really am. You know, I love the movies 1, 2, and 3, and then I love the new ones as well. But see, you're the old.
I was old school, yeah.
I don't like the old ones as much. You know, I watch them, I know all about them, but I don't like them as much. For me, this is like it all coming together, and everything that's gone on just been unreal. I love it.
Kellen Manek, everyone. Hey, always love doing this with you because at least for a couple of minutes we can geek out on Star Wars. No one else on the basketball team can I do that with. Again, Kellen Manek, that's going to wrap up this week's edition of Inside Southeastern Sports and our men's basketball preview. For all things Southeastern athletics, go to GoSoutheastern.com.